Wow. Listen, we're back. I'm reacting to the result, man. I didn't want to come on, I got to be honest, and I just hate to be negative about Man United, but I've got people on my WhatsApp group saying, like, it's not even, like, worth talking about Man United now. You know what? They've gone off even taking the mick. That's how bad it is. Like, can't even get any... They're not even having banter with me no more. That's how bad the WhatsApp groups are. Like, no, all jokes aside, how have Man United fell off like this? The fall from grace is, like, unheralded, never been seen before. At this rate, it's alarming. Well, it ain't alarming because we've been seeing it coming. I said in the last thing I posted, Man United turn up the way they did against Everton, they'll get pumped 4 or 5-0, and they got pumped 4-0. It's just embarrassing. It's gone from being angry at the beginning to now you're just sitting here like really, really sad about it, man. Like, and I keep hearing people go, yeah, but it's Man United. That Man United ain't here now. There's a big rebuild, man. A big rebuild that needs to happen. You've even got players I think there's double figures now. 15 or so players that are getting ready to pack their bags and leave Man United. When was that ever happening before? You might get a superstar like Ronaldo or Ruud van Nistelrooy might leave and go on to another dream after conquering the league in England and whatnot. But listen, even me, I turned down massive contracts abroad because I wanted to stay at Man United. It was the place that you wanted to be. The badge meant something. Roy Keane could have gone to so many different teams, got offered. Scholesy, Giggsy, there's so many players I could go through. All stayed because Man United was the place to be because you wanted to be there. It doesn't seem like that no more. It doesn't seem like anyone wants to really even be there. Everyone's looking for a way out. And it's just like you sit there and you just think, well, what is it? We've seen managers come and go. There's a new manager coming in. Is he really going to change it? He's got to be Einstein to come and change the fortunes of this club, it seems, because it's not just going to... I think Ralph Rangnick said it yesterday, and I think he said it best. Like Liverpool, Man City, Chelsea, they've got really smart football people who are ahead of the recruitment. I've said it for ages about the recruitment. The recruitment at Man United, you can't get away from the fact it hasn't been good enough. It was on show evidently yesterday as well. The scouting department, it all needs looking at. Because the proof's in the pudding. The proof is there. You can't get away from the fact that the players that have been brought in have not been good enough. Or they haven't even improved since they've been here. They've probably got worse. Which is alarming for anybody to look at and go, do you know what, whoa, if that's the case, it all needs ripping up and starting again. But I keep talking about the culture, man. Who's driving the culture? Like, who's driving the culture in the gaff? Like, who's going in there and from the kids, from the youth teams? I remember at West Ham when I was a kid, and this is what it'll be like at Chelsea. It'll be like, I went to a youth team, under 15s game at Chelsea. Tuchel was sitting in the stands watching the game at the training ground. I remember being at West Ham. That says a lot, by the way. You might think, oh, just because he's watching the game. No, it says a lot. Because I used to play for West Ham, and it was the same at Leeds, and it was the same at Man United when I was there, right? And it's a culture. Frank Lampard Sr. would be there. Someone from the first team, a coach or a manager or assistant would be there. Harry Redknapp, maybe Billy Bonds would have been there. And I remember we played a game, and I was only a schoolboy, and it was a youth team game. I was on the bench, and the team played rubbish in the first. I think it was against Chelsea in the Southern Junior Floodlit Cup, and the team played horrendously, got battered at Upton Park. The gaffer, I think Harry came in the room. He didn't say a word. Frank Lampard Sr. came in and went round every player and drilled them. This happened at schoolboy level as well. And what it does is you sit there and go, you know what? If anything, I'm putting everything out there on that pitch so that, please, God forbid, that a coach from the first team or even the youth team's watching and could come in and point the finger at me for not working hard enough, not doing my job, not giving it everything, not showing the right desire that is needed to be here. This is at West Ham I'm talking back in the day. And I saw it at United and I saw it at Leeds, bigger clubs than West Ham at the time in terms of positions. But it just doesn't feel like that can be there. Every single layer of that club needs to have that culture. And at the moment, I just don't see it. Was there the fight there? Bruno Fernandes, after the game, honestly says, listen, the fans deserve better. Yes, they do. They deserve much better, much more. If one of the players is saying that, that's an indictment on the whole team. It's embarrassing. Like, I don't want to see messages on social media. I want to see the next game, the next training session, but the next game, the fire, the passion, the desire. I want to see what it means out on that pitch, chasing the life out of people, making other teams walk off and go, Jesus Christ, them boys there, forget whatever quality there is there, they don't mess about. They're all over us. They fight. They're grafting. But that game yesterday, 9-0 over 2 games, Man United versus Liverpool, 9-0. That shows you how far behind Man United. Listen, I imagine we were far behind anyway, but that just absolutely put the nail in the coffin. And if anybody had any doubts or was trying to fight the corner of Man United to say, no, we're not that far. Wow. Crazy. I mean, even you look at yesterday, you can go for it for 1 to 11, poor. But whole team at shambles defensively. Every goal you can pick out and go, what was he doing? What was he doing? Every single one of the players, you go, oh my God, seriously, where are you? No awareness of runners, of people, of players. The two fullbacks, Wan-Bissaka and Dalot, not following their men. Maguire in no man's land, not tight to the striker, not covering the run in the middle of nowhere. People getting run off in midfield, like it's just. It ain't good, and people can go, you shouldn't pick out, but you listen. Can't hide from the fact that it was an embarrassment yesterday. And you know what? It's what it made me think about when we used to play Liverpool, and Liverpool at their worst, and they were struggling to compete for the Premier League on a consistent basis, and everyone was saying, they've fallen from grace. Their fall from grace has been great. It's been a great demise. This Man United team are worse than the worst Liverpool team that I played against. We used to go to Anfield sometimes, and Fergie used to sit there and go, right, lads, never get a better opportunity to come to Anfield and batter them. Never get a better opportunity to come to. This is the worst Liverpool team I've ever put a team up against. And you know what? They were never easy games. Never, ever an easy game. Always tough games. Because listen, the teams then probably didn't have as much quality in terms of like the profile of players that Man United got now. But I'll tell you one thing they didn't do. They didn't lack heart. Didn't lack belief, didn't lack desire, didn't lack the reaction of if they win a goal down, they'd fight and make you fight for it. We never went and played Liverpool and had an easy game and walked off and went, you know what? Cigar. Never. Because they made us work for it. Minimum. They might not have had the quality we had. They didn't have the quality we had. We were a better team than them, better players, better individuals. But they'd try and match us for work rate and effort and graft and blood, sweat and tears and fight us and stamping on you. The ball's at the other end and you've got Torres stamping on your foot, having to have stitches at half time in your foot because your foot's pouring with blood because they're doing anything and everything to get an inch. I don't see that with us, man. And it kills me to sit here and have to talk like this. But that's what needs transferring, man, into this. The people in the dressing room need to feel this is painful, man. And I'm sure they're hurting, but I don't see the reaction enough. I saw a shit performance against Everton, and I was there. And I ain't seen a reaction since. I see you go against Norwich, team that's going down, probably one of the worst teams in the league, they're going down, and they were having to fight for a 3-2 win at Old Trafford. Having to be saved by a 37-year-old, Ronaldo, who everyone's saying is the problem. If he weren't there, bloody hell, you imagine what we'd be? We'd be like, we're struggling to get in the top 10. And Ralph Rangnick, you know what? For all any failings that you say Ralph Rangnick's got, I'll tell you one thing: he's flipping honest when he comes out and speak. And he said, "Yep, it's embarrassing, it's disappointing, it's humiliating." He said. And one thing he did say that stuck with me: he says United are 6 years behind Liverpool. That's not even Man City as well. It's 6 years behind Liverpool. And he claims that up to 10 players could join in or would need to join in the summer rebuild to have a chance of starting to get claw some time back. It's bloody depressing. Even the new fella coming in. This is a hard job, man. A lot to do. And it ain't going to be just him that changes things. He needs good people around him. And there's good people at the club, man. There's good people there. But a culture needs to be created. Like, there needs to be fear, man. There needs to be, do you know what? Oof. If I step out of line here, if I go to a nightclub on the wrong day, I'm going to get butchered by not only one of the players, the senior players, but by one of the coaches, because they're going to find that, because they've got their ears to the ground and people are willing to tell them. That's how it needs to be run. You go out in town at the wrong time, you need to be checked. Like, I don't know if that's happening right now. Players ain't even thinking, guys, you know what? Is this the right time to be moving and doing this on social media or with a commercial partner? Is this the right time to be doing that? They're not having them moments where you're checking yourself and thinking, should I, shouldn't I? It's more like, you know what? No one can chat to me. No one's going to say nothing to me. Do what I want. It's calm. Top football teams with the right culture don't work like that. Players that manage themselves because of the fear of disappointing the person at the top or someone in that building or people in that building don't want to let them down. I don't feel that right now. I do not feel that. I don't see team spirit. Something happens in the game that goes against the tactics that they set up with and they fold like a pack of cards, man. Fold. Like, I see something like the front three Liverpool run right, scored and assisted all of it each other. Unreal. Thiago was like he was in the school playground taking liberties, just trying stuff out. Taking libs. Just liberty, like someone get close to him, please, and put a hand on him, at least. I know it's difficult sometimes, but gee, he was doing things and going, let me just try this one quickly. Taking liberties. Like Mane and Salah are meant to be fasting, mate. We fed them a feast on the day. I see some people talking about this. And as an ex-player and the pundits, I don't want to be here. I want to be here going nuts. You see what I'm like when I'm in the studio or when something goes well at United. I am the first to go, boom, support the boys and go nuts like a real fan. That's what you do. But you've got to give the other side of the coin as well. You can't have it all nice and smooth. The rough, you've got to take the rough with the smooth, and I know that as a player. And you know what I've got to say as well, you have to give respect to Liverpool fans, man. Massive respect to Liverpool. And that's why places like Anfield, I'm glad that they've refurbished and they moved the site, because the history, just the respect for Cristiano on 7 minutes, singing You'll Never Walk Alone during it. Mate, chills. That's what football's about. All the negative stuff and the depressing stuff, when you see something like that as well, and then they go on and bash us the way they did, you think, you know what, good luck to them. But, wow, it's mad. It is mad. But listen, I don't know how long I've been going on here, but again, like, my WhatsApp groups ain't even popping off now because people have lost the will to even banter Man United. That's when you know there's an absolute massive issue and it needs sorting ASAP. And we've changed managers, we've brought new managers in, and it hasn't worked, and it's still in disarray. Something's got to change. Something new's got to happen. Players can't come in this building and keep walking around like it's anything. I don't care. Can't walk around like, oh, I don't even see passion in any interviews, really. Bar probably David De Gea sometimes, who comes out and is brutally honest. It's just, I don't know, it's hard, man. Because you're an ex-player, you're a pundit on TV, and you've got to be very diplomatic and stuff, but sometimes there comes a time when you just got to be brutally honest, man. And it's about, forget quality. You can sit here, are they good enough to players? They're not showing that they're good enough, so they could never sit here and tell us that they are good enough. But one thing you can't accept is the lack of fight that you see. That's one thing that you don't accept. That's one thing that you're embarrassed as a player. If a manager comes to you or someone comes to you or it's aimed at you in public or in the media, that you don't try or that you don't give a toss or that you ain't got the desire or you ain't got the passion, that is an absolute dagger to the heart. That's an embarrassment. You get up every day and you give nothing less than that. So anyway, listen, I'm done, man. Listen, I'll check out now. See you in a bit.